This is India, the most populous country in the world, home to renowned World Heritage sites like the Taj Mahal, and known for its food, diversity, and passion for cricket. For most of human history, India has been home to a rich variety of peoples, making it blessed with incredible history and traditions. India also contains stunning natural landscapes and wildlife, from the Himalayas in the north to the tropical rainforests in the south. India is the fifth largest and one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with an estimated GDP of $3.7 trillion. Since 1991, economic reforms have opened the country to foreign investment, creating vast amounts of wealth and improving income levels. The country has enjoyed rapid growth due to its young and large working population, a booming services sector, and high levels of human capital. Economic growth has led to a huge reduction in poverty and a growing middle class. As part of government efforts to step up the economy, the Make in India initiative was launched to try snatch the title of the world's workshop from China by incentivizing foreign firms to relocate their factories to India. The Indian government is attempting to take advantage of rising costs of doing business in China with its supply chain issues left by the zero COVID policy and political troubles. As a result, the manufacturing industry is expected to boom. In 2020, the sector was worth 17.4% of India's economy. Forecasts believe this amount could rise to 21% of GDP by 2031, with revenues expected to triple. However, in recent times, the threat of a looming climate crisis has given rise to new issues. The Indian economic boom and industrialization has been fed by fossil fuels. India is the world's second largest producer and consumer of coal. Currently, 3/4 of India's power generation is derived from coal. Such a huge expansion in manufacturing may have devastating consequences for the environment. The combustion of coal releases harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to the enhanced greenhouse effect, which leads to global warming. India is the world's third largest emitter of greenhouse gases, although its emissions per capita is much lower than that of the USA or Europe, due to its large population. Air pollution kills over 1 million Indians a year. To compound this, due to the sheer size of its population and economic growth, India is expected to have the fastest rising energy demand of any country in the world. Its share of global energy consumption is expected to double by 2050. Global warming is already having a significant impact on India, as extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and intense. For example, in March 2022, a heatwave hit Southeast Asia, killing at least 90 people across India and Pakistan. India suffered from its hottest March on record. It also caused forest fires and burned farmland, significantly reducing crop yields. In fact, India had to ban wheat exports so it could have enough food to feed its own people. In northern India, rapid thawing in the Himalayas could exacerbate drought risk and create destructive flooding. Floods have cost India over $50 billion since 1990. It is estimated by 2100, at least 1/3 of glaciers in the Himalayas will have disappeared. Farming communities in India rely heavily on the seasonal monsoon for their livelihoods. Agriculture employs almost 150 million people in India. However, evidence suggests that climate change is set to make the monsoon much more volatile, with more days of torrential rains and longer dry spells in between. Overall rainfall is expected to increase, but this could damage crops including staples like rice. Intensive rainfall can restrict root growth, cause oxygen deficiency, and leach nutrients away. In light of such a threat, many investors and countries have shifted their attention onto renewable energy sources. Foreign diplomats at climate conferences like COP27 have also heaped pressure on India to pivot away from fossil fuels. In response, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has set out an ambitious climate action plan, which some might say is unrealistic, others could say delusional. Modi wants to build 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030, as well as make India a net zero emitter by 2070. He also promised to have 50% of India's energy mix being obtained from renewable energy sources by 2030, while decreasing the total amount of carbon emissions by 1 billion tons by the same year. A commitment to reduce the emissions intensity of the Indian economy by 45% was also launched. To support this green energy transition, India has announced billions in subsidies to manufacture clean energy technology and wants to become a leading player in the hydrogen industry. The country has already committed $5 billion in subsidies to develop solar modules and electric car batteries. Another $2.5 billion has been allocated towards green hydrogen. Many investors have shown an eagerness to develop renewable energy in India. Government data shows foreign direct investment into non-fossil fuel energy increased 40% between 2021 to 2022 to $2 billion. Many local governments have realized that the cost of large-scale renewable energy production is cheaper than fossil fuels in the long run, and are thus offering incentives such as subsidies and tax breaks to entice investment. As such, the share of renewable energy in India's energy mix has grown rapidly, especially solar and wind. India already has the world's largest solar farm, the Badla Solar Park, which has a capacity of 2.25 gigawatts. Wind farms have sprung up across the nation, giving India the fourth largest wind power capacity in the world. The country is also scaling up its bioenergy industry. The International Energy Agency expects India to grow its bioenergy sector by 75% over the next decade. Already 32% of primary energy use is derived from bioenergy. Moreover, the industry provides over 1 million jobs in India. However, the green energy revolution in India still must overcome severe challenges. First off, this energy transition is set to be very expensive. According to McKinsey, India would need to invest $2.5 trillion into renewable energy to meet its net zero target by 2070. That's a whopping 68% of its current total GDP. India's national grid is owned and maintained by the state. Therefore, it suffers from chronic underinvestment, electricity wastage, as well as frequent blackouts. After COVID-19 restrictions were lifted and life slowly returned to normal, energy demand began to pick up. Combined with a surge in air conditioning use due to last year's heat wave, India faced its record highest electricity demand in April 2022. This meant the government had to reverse policies to ban coal imports and was forced to reopen old coal mines and coal power plants. The state also heavily subsidizes coal. Many utilities companies are highly inefficient and unprofitable. Many are also plagued by debt, which makes it harder for them to source new energy supplies. Despite the imports and record coal production, many utilities companies had critically low stock, which led to blackouts causing severe disruption. During the same period, global coal prices were skyrocketing, making imports very expensive. Despite having the world's fourth largest coal reserves, India is the second largest coal importer. This suggests India is still critically reliant on coal and its transition to renewable energy is still some way off. Furthermore, the green energy transition could pose an existential threat for the coal belt region in India, where most of its coal reserves are found. This includes the states of Odisha, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Excuse my pronunciation. Across India's coal belt, some 25 million people rely on the industry for their livelihoods. These states are already among the poorest in India. In Jharkhand, half the population live in poverty. Officially, the coal industry in Jharkhand directly employs 300,000 people and sustains another 1 million indirect jobs. But millions more work as illegal or informal coal miners. Altogether, coal provides 10% of total employment in Jharkhand. Taxes from coal constitute 8% of total tax revenue collected by the state government. The gradual fading of coal would lead to massive structural unemployment, creating huge socio-economic problems and exacerbate poverty. The state governments would also lose a huge chunk of revenue, which could lead to austerity measures, damaging living standards. In response, these states are attempting to diversify away from coal by developing renewable energy. Tata Power has pledged to invest 50 billion rupees to modernize Odisha's electricity infrastructure. This makes the supply of energy more reliable, thus reducing blackouts. State officials in Odisha are planning to construct 10 gigawatts of renewable capacity by 2030. Nevertheless, developing renewable energy in the coal belt will be extremely difficult. The lion's share of current renewable development and investment goes to India's western states. The climate in the coal belt area sees frequent and violent cyclones as well as blistering heat waves, making renewable development a more challenging prospect. To complicate matters, some of the largest firms spearheading the green energy transition in India are facing financial troubles and regulatory scrutiny. In 2021, one of India's biggest conglomerates, the Adani Group, pledged to invest $20 billion in renewable energy over the next 10 years. However, in early 2023, The group was accused by Hindenburg Research of fraud and manipulating share prices, calling it the biggest con in corporate history. Although the Adani Group calls the accusations baseless, the Indian Supreme Court has decided to launch an investigation and investor confidence melted. Thus, share prices have gone through the floor. Since the Hindenburg report was released, the Adani Group as a whole has lost over $100 billion in market value. Also, Adani Green Energy share prices has plummeted 46% this year. This could make it harder for the group to meet their investment pledges as it struggles to raise capital needed to fund large developments. The group has also been accused of inflating coal prices and exploiting consumers. Opposition parties in India have called for further probes into the Adani Group's operations. Another prominent renewable energy firm, Azure Power, has been embroiled in a corruption scandal. The firm had won extensive contracts to build solar and wind farms. Their shares lost 80% of its value before being delisted by the New York Stock Exchange altogether. This could jeopardize their developments. Suzlon Energy, which is India's biggest provider of wind energy, is struggling with large debts and significant losses. India's renewable energy subsidies are also dwarfed by that of the USA and EU. The US Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act in August 2022. The act provides a massive $360 billion of subsidies and tax breaks for businesses investing in green energy. The EU has proposed its very own Green Deal investment plan package worth $250 billion. These incentives will make green energy development much cheaper and lucrative in the Western world. Therefore, India may miss out on the bulk of investment and resources allocated to renewable energy sources. Although India's economy has abundant potential for renewable energy development, its dreams have been sadly met with the reality of fossil fuels. Due to its fast-growing population and economy, the Indian government is unwilling to curb job-driving but polluting industries or let power shortages get in the way. Most of India right now simply has no alternative to coal, with its already huge energy demand expected to grow 6% a year. Despite this, its leaders must heed the call to action over the fight against climate change and avoid the mistake of policy myopia. The government could follow the example of the USA and EU by offering an attractive investment stimulus in order to divest from fossil fuels and secure a sustainable future for later generations. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this riveting video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more engaging content. As always, we appreciate your support and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.